Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Bright Founders Talk at Temi. Temi is an international software company that designs, builds, and delivers software for sustainable businesses and promising startups. My name's Matthew. I'll be your host today, and I'm joined by Gal Deitsch, all the way from Tel Aviv. Gal is the co-founder and CPO at Aligned. How are you today, Gal?
I'm great. Hey, Matt, thanks for having me. How's it going?
Fantastic. Thank you. Thanks for asking. So, Gal, you've come in today. You've agreed to meet with us, and you're going to share some insights with us. You're going to tell us a little bit about your company, about founding Aligned, what you guys do, and can you start off by giving us a brief overview of the company, the objective, maybe your slogan, your tagline?
Sure, happy to. So I'm one of the co-founders of Aligned. Aligned is a platform in the B2B space in sales tech. Essentially, we're a collaborative workspace that helps both sellers and buyers to close more deals faster. So we are allowing sellers and buyers to centralize their content, conversation, and process under a single source of truth for the deal. That's what Aligned does.
Okay, so you've said it very simply, but it sounds like there's quite a lot to unpack there. So I'm going to start at the beginning. The co-founder, where did this come from? How was it born?
Yeah, that's a great question, Rod. So I've been in sales all my life. I was a director of sales at my previous company. And one day, one of my employees, she came to me, one of the sales reps, and she was working on a big, heavy deal. It was a $300,000 deal with another company, and we were competing versus other vendors. We had the upper hand in terms of the product, and I was sure everything is going great. And then one day she came to me and she said, "God, we're going to lose the deal. We're losing the deal." And I said, "Hey, what's going on? I thought we had the better product, that we had a better offering. So why is that?" And I saw that she just had a lot of challenges in orchestrating all of the different stakeholders together, just aligning the troops, aligning the sellers and buyers together. So I realized that there's a huge chaos in deals today. There's a lot of content flowing back and forth between sellers and buyers. There are multiple stakeholders that are involved, and there are multiple forms of communication. People are communicating via email, WhatsApp, GChat, Slack, phones, you name it. So it's very hard to orchestrate. And I said, okay, there's got to be a better way. So I quit and decided to start Aligned to solve that exact problem.
That's fantastic. So I'm glad you mentioned that. And so a $300,000 deal, we're not talking about selling vacuum cleaners door to door here.
Correct.
We're talking about big sales, a lot of people, as you said, a lot of stakeholders involved. I suppose a lot of employees, a lot of people's lives. So a big responsibility then for you to make sure that this works properly.
Right.
Once you'd quit your job, how did you then manage to look after yourself, to build the business? What sort of steps did you take? Talk us through your process, if you can.
Yeah, sure. Great question. So the minute I quit, the first thing I did is I started looking for consultant job. So I was actually working as a part-time advisor in leading companies in Israel, small startups that were having issues with their sales process. So I was advising to VP sales, young CEOs, CROs of small startups that are trying to build their sales organization, their revenue organization within their company. And I did that part-time. So that really helped me in just kind of having like breathing room to have time and focus and think about different ideas. I had the idea in mind, but it takes a lot of time to analyze the market and the competition and the opportunity, speak to investors. So I was actually working on the ideation phase for 6 months before I met my first co-founder and CTO, which is Yotam. And in that time, I just did something that today might sound obsolete, Matt, because today everything is with GPT. But I actually used Google at the time, just innovative, and I Googled how to build a startup, how to make sure your idea is good, how to find a co-founder, and I started really researching it and looking for the right answers within different articles and different people in the industry that I knew.
That's fantastic. You say a little bit obsolete. I do know that AI is becoming quite a challenge at the moment. Is it posing any risks to your business model? Are you utilizing it for your business? Are you making friends with it? What's the situation there?
Yeah, I think every business these days, if you don't make friends with AIs, you're being left behind. So you better keep with innovation. For us, we actually are working on different ways to integrate AIs with the lines. It's just a must. It's something that's a base to our product. So we are enhancing the care capabilities that the line provides to sellers with AI. So that's something we're actually working on right now. And I see it as an opportunity, not as a threat at all, actually.
That's it. I actually asked somebody that recently, and I said to them, they said the same thing. They said, "Oh, AI is going to take our jobs." I said, "But if you learn how to work with it, you wouldn't be afraid of it, would you?" And it's incredible, actually, how few people are learning about this technology. Everyone's worried about it, but a lot of people are looking in the wrong direction. I'm digressing a little bit. We'll go back to the start. We've spoken a little bit about where your idea came from and how you got the ball rolling. And then you had to find funding to get this off the ground. Now, we know that the funding process can be quite daunting. It is quite a challenge. Quite often it's met with rejections. And a lot of people struggle with this step. Do you have any advice for us about finding funding, approaching people? What sort of investors do we look for?
Yeah, of course. So I think, first of all, when we did our initial funding, it was at the end of 2021, mid 2021. So the market was a bit different than today. Today, the market looks a bit different. It's harder to get funding for sure. I have a lot of young entrepreneurs speaking to me and consulting with me, different people, and I tell everyone the same. You gotta have a really, really, really strong problem you want to solve. You gotta have a clear indication of how you want to solve it, and you got to already reach initial traction before you go and speak to the VCs. VCs today have the luxury of not taking a significant risk with their investments. So they want to bet on a leading horse, a horse that they are sure that can run and runs fast and hard. So in order to do that, you have to have a clear problem, almost clear solution, but you have to show initial traction using clients that are using your platform or high intent in terms of usage. There's a technology barrier until you build your solution, but you gotta really, really show high intent and initial traction if you can, in order to really convince VCs that your startup that you're building is lucrative and relevant for them.
It's good advice. And tell me, was it all good for you? Did you have a few rejections? Did you get a bit of kickback? If you did, how did you handle it?
Yeah, I think for us, I'll tell you, because my background is in sales, and also my co-founder, Gal, who's our current CEO, also came from sales. He was the CRO at his previous organization. We are a pretty veteran team in terms of co-founders, and we are very accustomed to speaking to potential clients, investors. At the beginning, they're like clients that you're selling to. So it was very easy for us to speak to investors in that way. We are very fortunate to be a part of an industry that's booming. Digital sales rules and interaction plans, it's something that's keep on growing, and it's part of our platform. So a lot of our investors were actually actively looking to invest in this field because they know that there's a clear category that's being created. And we had a strong team. So for me, we were pretty fortunate in terms of the funding, and we didn't have the majority of challenges that we're seeing for other startups.
Okay, that's good. So I guess you could say that you have the gift of the gab. Have you heard that expression before? Have the ability, a smooth talker, perhaps.
Yeah.
So good for you. It's nice to hear that. And since your company was founded, since you started and you've been growing, you've gone from strength to strength. And if I'm correct, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you've got a lot of users now. A lot of people have joined the platform, a lot of big companies, thousands of users. Can you tell us a little bit about your growth?
Sure. So I think both the founders are all with sales background. So we really understood our end client, our end user, and what they need. It was very easy for us to build a product that's tailored towards the end user. And we are with a P&G go-to-market approach, product that grows. So that means users can just sign in, get the value for themselves, try the product for free, use the product for free, and then they can invite other team members and people from other companies. We also have inherent virality. So that means that we have sellers signing up to the platform. They are using digital sales rooms in order to communicate with buyers. Buyers then are excited and they sign into the platform. They send the digital sales room to new sellers. And we have this loop that keeps on steering this flywheel.
Like a snowball rolling down a mountain.
That's right. Yeah.
It's a terrific product model that. And so you've grown and you've become, you've gotten to a point now where things are operating and they're operating smoothly, or smooth. We'll get into that later, but surely there must have been some challenges. There has to have been some hard times, some mountains that you had to climb, some difficult decisions to make along the way.
Yeah, sure. I think as a founder, there are always like difficult decisions on a daily basis. I think in these days, it's very challenging to kind of see how you keep your money in terms of runway. All startups want to make sure that they have a long runway before their money runs out and they reach significant milestones. So on one hand, we want to run really, really fast and grow as fast as possible. The other hand, the market is not what it used to be, and you want to make sure that you're efficient enough and you have enough gasoline to run the tank, and run the car for the next 2 years. So these are constant challenges that we are dealing with.
You've got, your company employs a lot of people remotely, am I right? You've got people working for you all around the world?
Yeah, we have people in Asia, in Europe, in North America, Canada, all over the world, 100%.
Okay. And your product is designed to bring people together and to make an area where it's easier for people to negotiate and to work together to find some common ground. How do you do that with your employees? Is it based on a similar model? How do you collaborate between all these people all over the globe?
That's a great question, Matt. So first of all, we use Align internally to collaborate between the teams, and that we do have people working all over the world in different zones and different hours. So first of all, we are asynchronously running the company. So I can work on a project, but then someone in North America will wake up and then they'll take that task line and start working on that. And then someone in Asia will wake up in my evening in Tel Aviv, and they will be working on that. So we do work asynchronously, and we our WhatsApp groups or Slack groups, we work very closely together. We do Zoom every week, like a global happy hour in which we bring some kind of form of education for the entire team. So even though everyone are remote, people are really appreciative of the time that they have and the flexibility, the independence they have remotely. And we are also bringing very senior personas to the team. So people who are builders, they know to manage their own time, they know to manage their own hours, and knock on wood, it's currently working very well.
I'm a little bit intrigued about the happy hour. Did you say it was a weekly happy hour?
Yeah.
Tell me a bit about that. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. So every Thursday evening, our time, we bring an influencer, a comedian, someone to bring a lecture, or we do a game. And this is everything on Zoom. So we all do it remotely. We all play together, or we all listen to the same lecture and then ask questions. It's something that unifies the team and brings them together. So we can do it like a global happy hour.
I like that. I like that idea. So proof then that you don't need to be in the same room, in the same town, or even the same country, time zone, or time of day, for you to still be a team, to be able to interact with each other and to be able to collaborate for the good of a common goal.
Right.
It's fantastic. Now, the team is a recurring theme in all of these talks, and I've noticed that the pattern is strong team, good company, good work. It's these things
Yeah.
tied together. Are you
Right.
still involved in the onboarding, in the hiring process? You must have been at the beginning. How do you choose the people that you work with? What sort of qualities do you look for in your
Yeah.
members?
These are great questions. That's a great question, Matt. So essentially, we have our own values, which is simplicity. We choose to be very, very simple and very straightforward in our way of work and how we think, how we operate. We put a lot of emphasis on teamwork, collaboration, working together as a team, playing to win. So we are bringing people that are hungry, that strive to win. It's very important for us. So playfulness is a big part of it. And then we want to make sure that the people we interview, these values inherent in them. They're playful, they're leaders, they know how to work as a team, they're simple in terms of the way they talk and the way they serve their offspring. Yeah, so that's what's important for us. We are bringing builders. So the builders today will be team leaders and directors in the next round and in the next round. These are the building blocks of our company in each and every department.
I like that. As a salesperson being involved in this, you have to have a good understanding of people, personalities, and be able to read a person, a situation, read a room. Is that something that you were born with? Is that something that you were taught? Could you teach it to somebody else?
Yeah, I think essentially it's a lot of practice. It's a lot of practice. If to be completely honest, the best way to learn about a person is from their actions, less from their words. So we can less to listen to the words, more to focus on the actions. They do what they do. Do they come on time? The level of their professionalism? What happens in a crisis? Do they take responsibility? So these are the things that we look at more than the words that they say. That makes sense.
I like that. Yes, absolutely. Reading body language, I believe something ridiculous like 90% of our communication is nonverbal. Just the
Right.
expressions on the face, the gestures. I'm quite talkative with my hands.
Yeah.
Um, and so, yes, I believe a lot of the communication is through there. And it's interesting. It's very interesting. Now, at the moment, we were talking a little bit about it earlier, there's a lot of competition in the markets, but the industry is growing, but we're also going through a lot of trouble, financially, the markets, the political condition of the world. There seems to be a lot of turbulence today. I
Right.
don't know if it's that we're becoming more aware of it, if it's always been this turbulent, but it seems to me like it's gotten a bit crazy over the last few years. And running something like this in this current environment must be quite a challenge. How are you doing this? How do you keep your head above water?
Yeah. So Align is here to help sales teams solve the chaos in deals. Today, as a sales team in our SaaS company, it's harder than ever to rise above the noise, close deals. And that's exactly where Align comes in. It's exactly where we come in. We help these teams align with their prospects, give them a much better experience, rise above the noise, and win more deals faster. And I think that's where we're very fortunate actually to be in such a crazy market and such a challenging market because sales teams that look at us, they look at us as their, how do you say, we help them, with the deal instead of just being another software that they can buy. Uh, we are like their extra life in the game, right? So they use us to save their deals and keep the deals from falling through.
So the customers are putting a lot of faith into you. They are investing their livelihoods, basically. Um, what do you do for building your customer relations? How do you how do you build strong connections with your customers, your clients? What sort of things are you doing for them to make sure that you have a good working relationship?
Yeah, that's a great question. So essentially, because the product is a PLG, product-led growth approach, and we're kind of a self-serve platform, clients can just come for themselves. They learn about us in blogs. They learn about us in social, in LinkedIn. They learn about us from ambassadors that keep speaking about the product in social media, and they just try the product from themselves, and they get to the value before they even hear about pricing. So they have, first that introduction with the product, they try it, they use it, it's completely free, and only then they're able to upgrade and get additional features which require payment. So another thing we do is Align is completely free for job seekers. So we run a lot of campaigns. You know how it is out there these days. If you're in sales, customer success, partnership, any revenue team, and you're a job seeker, you can use Align to stand above the noise, rise above the noise, and better reach the potential.
I think that's quite nice. So you're giving back to the community, obviously a very important thing today.
Yeah.
And as you say, the market for job seekers is quite competitive, and to have something like this available for people to become aware of it and be able to utilize it to improve their personal condition, I think is terrific. Now, I'd like to move on to the future, right? Looking ahead, where is this going? Where do you see yourselves? What is your goal here?
Yeah, so if you think about it today, the sales tools that sales teams are using haven't changed in the last 20 years. Sales teams are still using same old email from the 90s, okay? Phone calls, things haven't changed. And if you look at other areas of expertise, you can see that Figma is the collaboration platform for designers and developers and product teams. You can see Miro for whiteboards. You can see Monday and ClickUp for projects. But there is no collaboration platform for sellers and buyers. So Align is a collaboration platform, the go-to collaboration platform for sellers and buyers to manage everything revolving the deal, whether it's content, conversation, or their buying process. Everything is unified under one single source of truth for the deal. And we want Align to be the go-to for any deal collaboration between buyers and sellers.
And these days, time is money. And I saw one of the main points that popped up, something that stuck with me, with the line that you said, finding important information that gets lost in email threads. We've all been there. Yeah. We back and forward negotiating, talking, doing something, and we're using the same email with the same header from 3 months ago. And then we think, what was that number they gave me? And we've got to start going through this. And Aligned is meant to simplify this and take away that confusion. Was that born out of you looking for information? Were you stuck in that rut? Is that when you said, enough of this? I'm not going through these emails anymore.
Yeah, actually, for me, it was my sales team that I managed. I saw for them that they need to be a sales manager and need to be more of a manager today than a salesperson. So they need to have very high operational skills in order to progress the deal forward. And we saw the struggles. I saw the struggle. My co-founder saw the struggles. And we wanted to solve that. We wanted to simplify the buying journey. We wanted to simplify the selling journey. And in order to rise above the noise, you have to think about the buyer, put the buyer in the focus, and think about how you can simplify your buyer's life, not only the seller's life. And that's what we did with Align, and almost the name, because we align sellers and buyers under one unified place.
It's fantastic. So changing tools, improving the industry as you know it, refining, polishing and rubbing out the ugly pieces, creating something that works, that's efficient. We'll save time, we'll save money. It's probably going to be a hell of a lot more eco-friendly than the old method of driving from door to door and knocking and moving about and getting people together in big rooms. So a lot of good coming from it, and a lot of good things, it sounds like, in your future. I'd like to ask you, though, one or two personal questions. If you don't mind, tell me, do you have a role model?
Yeah, I think for me, the role models I have, first of all, it's Tony Robbins, which I think is a great speaker, a great leader.
The guy with the hands.
And the way, that's right, 3 hands. Really helped me with a positive mindset, with training, with asking the right questions. So for me, I think that's like a noteworthy role model to speak about. Yeah.
Fantastic. I like that. Tony Robbins. First time I saw him was on a movie, Shallow Hell, with, I think it was Jack Black, and he met Tony Robbins in an elevator.
Really?
That's how I know him as the hands guy, because he brought it up in the movie. And then that's how I actually started learning about him. A very insightful person, good energy that he gives out. Do you have if I had to ask you for a quote, a famous quote, mantra, motto, what words do you live by, Gal?
It's always better to regret something you did than something you didn't. That's something I really take with me. And the other big mantra that goes with me is that you only lose when you stop trying. So as long as you keep on trying, keep on progressing, eventually you'll win and get to where you want. Just don't stop. Don't give up your dreams, essentially.
I like that very much. So, Gal, I think that's all from me. Do you have anything you'd like to add? Is there anything you can think that we may have missed today, that you, maybe a final word of wisdom for our listeners, something from the heart, perhaps?
Yeah, for sure. So first of all, if you're a seller, if you're in customer success, partnership, client-facing team, feel free to go into alignup.com, try our product for free. If you're a job seeker, you can write to us. We'll open a free account for you forever until you find your next job, actually. And how can you use it to find your next job? I wanted to thank you, Matt, from the 10 team for inviting me today and hosting me. And this was great. That's it for my end.
Fantastic, Gal, and thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for giving us your time and your insights. I'm sure that your words are going to help inspire a lot of people. And that's it from us. So, Gal, it was a pleasure meeting you. And
My pleasure.
you
Thanks
too.
a lot.